could you introduce yourself for me? Tell me your name and how old you are.
I'm James Tracy.
And how old are you today?
I'm 93 years old. 95.
95. That's okay, I do that all the time.
He's been lying about his age so long it doesn't surprise me.
That's okay. Now, maybe you don't remember your age today because in order to enlist in the Army, did you lie about your age? Yeah?
But they didn't care anyway.
No? How old were you when you enlisted? How old were you really when you enlisted?
I think I was 17.
You were 17.
Yeah.
And you told the Canadian government that you were 18?
Yeah.
19?
Yeah. I told them I was a cook.
You told them you were a cook. Did you lie about that too? Are you a cook? No, you are a cook? Okay.
Ask him again about the cook.
Listen
to her.
Are you a cook?
No.
No, not at all. What was your rank and what regiment were you in?
I was with the Royal Canadian Regiment. Most of the time, 1st Infantry Division.
Okay. And what rank did you hold?
Private?
Private? Throughout the entire war?
Yes.
Okay. And briefly, what did you do? What was your role at the front line in Dieppe?
Well, I was an infantryman. Just a regular plain old foot soldier, and I followed orders, is what I was doing. And our commander and my platoon commander, I had orders to follow him. He would give me instructions verbally or hand-wise in following him. Not knowing what was in front of us, there was no advance information too much.
No.
So it was just more or less follow the leader, you might say.
And so you landed with the 4th Commando.
I guess they were. They didn't tell me too much. I mean, I ended up with that outfit and didn't really know what was happening.
Okay.
They didn't have a habit of telling it in advance what the whole story was or what you was up to.
Okay.
But I was used to that because other events were the same way.
So what do you remember about landing on the beach?
Well, it was a cliffy area, and we had to find a way to get up, whatever. So it was kind of like following the leader. Whoever found it, that's where we went. It seemed to me like we appeared to be lost on how to get up there, even though, of course, I wasn't in the pre-briefing of the landing. Being a regular foot soldier, you more or less followed the sergeant or whoever it was.
Now, what made you want to come back today to Dieppe?
Well, a nostalgic thing, you know, memories, and then also I wanted to see where my buddies were buried.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of them were killed later on in Belgium and Holland too.
And do you know how many of your friends died in Dieppe?
I don't know how many. We weren't briefed or told anything about it later, really. Is this like they kind of forgot the event? My battalion wasn't involved.
Right.
I was an individual, so I didn't get any special privileges of saying anything, really. Well, my buddies, they would ask me questions. As far as the commanders, they didn't ask me much anything.
They didn't let you know. So why did you wait so long to come back to Dieppe? It's 1942.
Well, I always
2016.
wanted to do that, and I told my son that, you know. I never really thought I'd ever make it back, really. But due to my son and everything else, it's through him that I'm here today.
Thank you.
It's a group effort between all three of us. So I just was fortunate enough to that he asked if it was something we could do for him. So,
Wonderful. We're happy to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
So when you left from Dieppe, when you left Dieppe and went back to England, what happened then? What did you do
I was
just after that?
just sent back to my unit,
And that was,
which was in Aldershot, England.
In Aldershot.
Yeah.
okay. And then you prepared to go to
And then got us ready, and we were shipped to Sicily.
Sicily. Okay. Do you have, it must have been difficult at the end of the war when you went back to the United States. What did you think about when you went back to the United States?
Well, everything was strange. I was gone for 5.5 years. And I was thinking mostly about my folks, my mom and my dad, primarily. And that's about it, you know. I was a tired soldier. All I wanted to do was sleep.
Just tired?
Yeah,
Just
really tired.
So when you got, at the end of the war, you went back to New York? Did you come on a
No, I
boat?
went back
Did
to
you fly
Indianapolis,
home?
Indiana.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Right.
And what did you do then? Did you go back to university? Did you go back to school?
Yeah, I started back to school, and I also worked for the newspaper a little bit. And I lost that job because I was taking the position of a guy who's in the American Army.
Oh,
And I was told if he come back, I would be out, which he did come back.
okay,
So I ended up with a communication company.
okay. Because you stayed for the entire war from 1939 to 1945 in the Canadian Army.
Right, I was overseas just about 5.5 years.
But yet you are American.
Yeah,
And you wanted to go from the Canadian Army to the American Army?
right. And the colonel of my outfit said he had too much money invested in me and he wouldn't let me transfer.
They wanted
But there was a lot of Americans who did transfer.
Okay, but at the end of the war, then that was a problem for you because you ended up losing your job because an American soldier came back and took that job.
Well, at the end of the war, I don't know how far back, but I ended up in Toronto, is where I got my discharge.
Oh, all right,
I joined in London and got discharged in Toronto.
okay,
And we was living in horse stables in the fairgrounds.
wow,
Yeah. And I was just stayed there long enough waiting for my discharge. It looked like it took, if I recall, maybe 20 or 30 days. I don't remember what it was.
20 or 30 days
as soon as I
in
got my
horse stable.
discharge papers, I went back to the States.
okay. And how did you do that? By train?
Trained,
By
yes.
train, okay. And then you went to Indianapolis?
Yes,
Okay. And that's where mom and dad were?
correct.
Okay. So you went back to your hometown?
Right.
And got a job?
I went back there to sleep.
To sleep, okay. That's the most important part. Went back to sleep. Oh,
now we know.
better than the horse stable.
Yeah, really.
Okay. Afterwards, I think you meet a girl. Did you meet a girl at one point in time? Because these guys
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
from Indianapolis?
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then got married and have several children?
No, no
Just
children, no children.
First marriage.
Okay, first
First,
marriage,
yeah.
okay. And then you marry again?
Yeah,
And
I
have.
met his mom.
You met his mom, okay, all right, great. Is it ever possible for a soldier who's gone through so much like you have to forget the bad stuff and only remember the good things.
I think that's quite correct, really. I'm more inclined to think about the good times, but by the same token, the bad ones pop up once in a while.
So sometimes a flash.
Right.
You don't, it doesn't.
Right. Just like visiting Dieppe here has really brought back all the bad memories. Well,
Just the bad memories. When you have a bad memory, is it about is it the cliff that you remember? Is it the noise? Is it the sounds?
Well,
smells?
no, I tell you, things are so active at that particular time and moving so fast, whatever, that there's a lot of things that were happening, and it was constantly changing a lot, and what it amounted to. So I was just glad to get back on a landing craft.
Yeah. Well, you
I
were
felt very
lucky.
fortunate about that.
Yes, you were. You were very lucky.
Yeah.
Because you know that at Dieppe, it was a
Right.
a bad situation.
And I always had doubts about why did Dieppe happen, but later on I was told that the Allies would learn a lot from it, and I believe in a long time I had quite a bit of doubt about that. But then later on I realized after the second front was developed and the landing in Normandy, then I understood more about what I'd done earlier.
Right. And did you take part in the landings on D-Day as well?
No. I was in Italy at that time.
You were in Italy during that
I spent
time.
2 years in Italy.
Okay. All right. Good for you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. You were injured at one
Yeah,
point in time?
in Italy, and I spent my recuperating back in Sicily.
Oh, okay.
That was north of Naples.
How did you get injured?
I had, we got shrapnel. It was artillery or a plane, I don't know what it was, but come under attack.
You were on the ground?
Huh?
You were on the ground?
Oh yeah, I was on the
You were
ground.
on the
yeah.
ground.
Right.
And something hit you.
I'd just been removed from the front. We was going back for a rest period, and we got attacked. And so I had taken my helmet off and everything, and come over bombing us. And I got some shrapnel on my head. And then they sent me to the hospital in Naples. And after Naples, I was sent to Sicily for recovery. And then after recovery in Sicily, I think it was Palermo, Sicily, I think. And I was sent back to my unit.
Back to the front.
Back to the front.
Yeah.
So they removed the shrapnel from your head
Yeah.
and sewed you back up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And then back to work.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Tell
Right.
them about 3 years ago. Tell them about 3 years ago when you were shaving.
Oh,
What happened 3 years ago?
well, evidently they didn't get all the shrapnel out of my head.
Really?
And I knew I was having a problem because I could feel it. And the shrapnel was working through your neck. And it popped out and fell on my shoulder.
It popped right out of you and fell down.
Yeah, it was a little piece of shrapnel, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that
Did
was
you
common.
save it?
That
Did
was
you
common.
save it?
That was
Did
a
you throw it
common
away?
thing for.
Did you save it or did you throw it away?
Well, I thought about saving it, but there was a lot of hair and stuff on it, and I thought I'd throw it away.
No, throw it away.
Yeah, really.
A bad memory.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, right at that particular time, I just soon forgot it.
Yeah.
But later on, I thought to myself, I should have saved that. Yeah, aftermath can be kind of bad.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so you were shaving and it fell out of your head.
Yeah. Well, I knew I was having a problem because I had a big knot up there. I couldn't comb my hair.
Wow.
I couldn't part my hair.
Yeah.
Really.
And so it was, you scratch your head and...
Well, I don't know. It just popped off out of it,
Wow.
It's taken quite a long time for that to happen.
70 years.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Wow.
Really.
Do you think there's more?
Pardon?
Do you think there's more?
Oh, I don't think so.
Well,
I
hope
don't
not.
feel
I hope
anymore.
not. No, okay.
And I
That's
think
incredible.
it was in 1964, 1965, they dug a piece out of his knee also.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Really?
So you had some in your knee as well?
Right.
Wow. That's incredible.
Will you tell what happened during the surgery?
Go ahead, honey.
How they,
That's what I'm talking
never mind.
about. They cut the wrong knee open.
Oh, no. Okay.
Became a TV story. Hey, Dad, can you tell us about the game that you ran on the ship and your
Yeah.
water bottle?
Yeah. Well, in the British Navy, you know, they give you a shot of rum every morning.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a tradition back a couple hundred years, I guess. Way back when, I was told when the British Navy used to get scurvy, they found out if it took some alcohol that that's not. So consequently, everybody on this British ship got a shot of rum every morning. Well, a lot of guys didn't like the rum, so I would either buy theirs or they would give me theirs, and I'd put it in my water bottle. And I immensely saved up a water bottle full of rum. Well, I'll need that to go ashore with. I hate to say that, but that's basically what I did. And we got torpedoed in the Mediterranean, and I lost the bottle of rum when I jumped out of the ship into a lifeboat. It come off my belt and down into the Mediterranean, really.
Uh-oh.
I can still hear that thing going down in the water.
So that's
I saved it for so long, it was a shot at a time.
and so that was you weren't worried,
Pardon?
you were not frightened to jump into the boat, but losing the water, the canteen
Yeah, that
full of rum
that did
was a
bother
problem.
me because I was holding on the boat watching it sink.
Oh, no.
How did it go?
Oh, no.
And it seemed like it made a heck of a lot of noise going down.
Was that you crying?
Yeah, yeah, really.
I think he broke his ribs when he did jump out there too.
So you jumped from a boat that had turned over and jumped into,
I grabbed the bow of the lifeboat. We had an all-Indian crew who didn't speak English. And they was having a problem launching lifeboats, and some of them, they turned upside down with the people in it and everything else. And later on, I thought, I made a big mistake trying to get in that lifeboat. I'd probably been better just to jumped overboard and forgot it. But fortunately enough, they did launch our boat, and I ended up being the only lifeboat afloat of the whole ship.
and how many people survived that?
I have
torpedo?
no idea.
How many were in your lifeboat?
Oh, I think it was about only half full. I don't know how many, maybe 20 or
20?
so. I'm just guessing. Really?
Wow.
I didn't count them.
Wow.
Want to tell us about the cork and crown game?
No, what?
Tell them about the cork and the crown. I call it
The crown and anchor game.
Yeah, crown, I call it chuckle. Go ahead.
I had bought I think they call it Chuck-a-Luck in America, and it's a gambling game. And it's got 6 squares on it, and they got a heart, a club, a spade, and a diamond insignia on it. And in the middle was a crown, and in the bottom picture was an anchor. We call it the crown and anchor. In America, they call it Chuck-a-Luck. And I started that, and I ran that game all the time. And I didn't draw any pay for 2 years.
So
Of
why
course,
is
there wasn't any place to spend it anyway. I was in Italy.
So I think you won this game a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
really.
you didn't have to worry about your pay.
Yeah,
'cause you kept winning.
I
So how
didn't
do you
draw
play this
pay
game?
for 2 years.
How do you play this game?
How to?
How do you play it?
Oh, yeah, I had dice. You have 3 dice.
Right?
And the board has six
six
spaces,
squares.
6 different spaces that you could bet on.
Right. Oh.
And I used to bark because you have a 50-50 chance of winning, because you had 3 dice, 6 spaces, whatever. But in reality, if 2 or 3 things come up with the same figure, it was not a 50-50 chance.
Oh, okay. But so we can,
Particularly like a gamble. You probably have that at a casino here.
I don't know. I don't gamble. So I think we can safely say that you truly are very lucky. First
Well, I
of all,
consider myself
yeah.
very fortunate, yes.
you
Right.
win at the Chuckaluck game.
Yeah, right,
You survive a torpedo accident.
right.
You live for 90 years, 95 years, but there are 70 of them that you spend with a piece of shrapnel
Yeah.
going around and pops out of your head.
Yeah,
You survive the raid in Dieppe. You spend 5 years in the war, and you come back to the United States and end up with a beautiful family. I
Right.
think you're a very lucky man.
well,
Very, very
I
lucky.
figured God was looking after me.
It might have been because you did not choose to shoot up the Vatican Church. That might
Could have had a lot to do with
That
it,
might
really,
be it.
really, really.
that might be
Vatican's
it.
a beautiful, beautiful place, really. I didn't spend a lot of time in the Vatican, but it is a beautiful place. Kind of made me think different at that particular time, really.
I'm sure.
But I felt,
I'm sure the Pope
while I
thanks you.
was in the Vatican, though, I knew I was being watched. I just felt eyes were peering right through me. But nobody come out and talk to me.
Well, everybody in the Vatican City today is very pleased that you felt that way. Because
Yeah.
the church is fine now. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
really.
Thank you very much.
Well, when I walked in there, I did not have a good feeling about the place. I lost my buddy.
You tell them who you had lost and how you lost him.
Well,
Rogers.
it was in Sicily, and it was the Italians defended it, and they surrendered, and then they changed their mind, and then we advanced on them, and they machine gunned us, and they got my buddy, and so that's what it amounted to.
And so you were angry
Yes, yes,
and
very
wanted
angry.
revenge.
Huh?
And you wanted revenge.
Right, right.
And so you,
I still had that feeling when I first went in the Vatican.
yep. But so you went to the Vatican on purpose, and you were going to take your gun and shoot.
Well,
up
I
things.
did not have that planned ahead to
No.
do that.
No,
That was a feeling I had when I got there.
when you went in the door.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
But why did you go to the Vatican then?
Why?
Yeah, before.
Well,
Just because?
I'd knew about the Vatican from
Yeah.
school.
Right.
Really, I understand all that,
So-
everything.
At first, it was for tourism. You wanted to be a tourist and visit the Vatican.
Right.
And then when you got there, you were so angry that you were going to wreck what you could,
Yeah,
shoot up the Vatican, and then walking around, you looked around and saw the beauty of the paintings and the sculptures,
right.
and
That's
you
right.
changed your mind.
That's right.
And you changed your
That's
mind.
right.
The Vatican is very lucky.
Right. Yeah, probably so, because I got a feeling that if I pulled that gun off my shoulder, I think I would have been a dead guy.
Yeah.
I'm
probably.
sure, I know I was being watched.
So there was someone else watching.
Why they didn't come out and talk to me, I have no idea. But this is right when the Krauts moved out of Rome.
So when the Germans move away, that's when you're in Rome.
Right.
Okay. And what did the people of Rome, how were they reacting? Were they happy to
Well,
see?
I didn't really get to know the people of Rome because the war was still going on. The only thing they had open at that time was barber shops. Then they had no lights because the war was on, because of possibly being bombed, I guess.
Right.
Whatever. So there wasn't any nightlife or anything. And that was a leave I had, first leave I'd had in years, and there wasn't anything to do.
So for 2 years that you're in Italy,
Yeah.
the only leave you have was the time that you go to Rome.
That's right, that's right.
And you took a little ride around the Colosseum
Yeah, on a motorcycle.
on a motorcycle
Yeah.
and engraved your initials,
Do I?
and you wrote something?
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly where, but one of those entrances has got my name scratched in the, but there's 100 other names there too.
Oh, okay, well, all right. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. So, how do you feel about coming back to France? Coming back to Europe?
Well, has a nostalgic feeling, you know, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I never thought I'd ever have the opportunity to do it. My son was the one that did all the work, and my daughter planned this whole trip. So I feel great about coming to France. I've always liked France, really. You know, I just
What do you like about France?
the people.
The people?
Yeah.
The,
The wine.
And-
What about the wine?
and the wine?
You like the wine?
The vino.
Yes, yes, of course, yes.
Oh, that's in Italy.
Well,